Welcome back to the Clay Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 9 with the oil painting of a portrait. What we are making is a portrait of a baby. We are continuing with this class and seeing where we are going with this painting. So for people who have been following this and doing to the T what exactly is being discussed, congratulations. Thank you for following this through and trying to do. And now we are going to get into the next phase of doing more of layer 4. We have been working on, just a recap, we have been working on 3 layers so far. When we started out doing basics, understanding basics of oil painting and doing basics like a golden ratio and setting up the canvas and placing our subject, the little baby girl, and also going over the first layer, second layer of blocking, and then the third layer of this is not blocking, a little more than blocking, going into the depth of the darker and lighter shade with the help of the real colors that we want to establish. In the class 8, we started the layer 4 of painting, and we started with something intense. It looked easy, but it was intense, isn't it? We did the hair of the baby girl. So this class, we're going to have it a little lighter. So before I get started, I will give you some logic about how I approach portraiture. And I think I touched upon this concept of working on the canvas altogether and keep moving around the canvas altogether and building it layer by layer in all the spaces. And there are artists that do it differently. Like, for example, they will first work on one eye and make it perfect 100% and then move on to the next and the nose. So there are people who move inch by inch or millimeter by millimeter also. So that's also fine. The reason why I do it this way is also having a big picture understanding of where we are going. Each time we are doing a layer. So we get a big picture understanding of the changes we are making. Are they all gelling well together? So the painting as such may not be 100% close to the reality, but still, as a painting, are the concepts that you're trying to put in, especially when you have taken one subject and then have added your own idea around. This is what we did with this painting. So, are these subjects or are these concepts sitting together? Does it make a good composition? Does the painting make a good, a good portrait, that a believable portrait? So there are many aspects to it. So that is easier to achieve when we are working around the canvas most of the time, when we do not know how each and every aspect is going to look like. That's one thing. Another thing is that the psychological aspect of an artist. Some people love to have 100% control in one area and then move on to the other area. The benefit is that they have the total control and accuracy that they are aiming at in one place. This also might give an aspect of little too much focus, maybe not stress, but if you are in the beginner level, that could be a little more stressful. It is easier as we move on in this world of painting to choose different methods and say, this is what I am comfortable with, and say, yes, let's work on perfection on one area and then move on to the other. But at the beginning level, psychologically, we are in a in a stress if we are putting ourselves to do only one segment. It could be exhausting mentally. So try to combine things and work in a manner that is not stressful. Ultimately, the whole point of us painting is first to learn something new, and also to relax ourselves and enjoy ourselves. If that isn't happening, no matter how pretty the painting itself is, then we might be failing in another angle. So look at your psychological aspect of what makes you happy. Another thing that I would like to touch upon, and from the psychological point of view, is that now in these 8 hours that you've been with me, you have been listening to my voice while you are painting and watching the pictures, maybe through your phone or laptop or something, iPad or something. But eventually, you should get on to a level where you can sit through hours alone. So be mentally prepared that you will not have to listen to my voice or any other artist's voice all the time. So sitting through many hours alone is like meditation in a way. It is good, but it brings up a lot of aspects in you. So from a meditative point of view, I don't want to go into that part of the detail, but it could be a bit challenging. So if you're finding it overwhelming, try to take a pause or do different things about the painting, so you feel that you're continuing to paint. Do not stop painting. Do continue to paint, but try to do different things around, so you are understanding your own self or what you like to do. Yeah. To be honest, when I'm not recording like this and I have to paint and I'm all by myself, I think most of my videos updates, you might have seen that I have some music going on. I do listen to audiobooks. I listen to good podcasts. So a lot of things that could keep my mind more agile, motivated. So I try to do that. There have also been times when I wanted to be totally with myself in complete silence. Maybe it's highly intense activity. Then I do take some time and say, okay, it's going to be dead quiet now, and I will just work on that particular aspect of it. But I don't make it a compulsion. As I go along, whenever I feel like doing it, I do it. So there's no pressure about it. So this is something I would also advise you to think on. What do you love to listen to? What do you love to watch? I have also heard that people like watching some movies or something along while they are painting. For me, it is a little bit distracting. Maybe when I have something easier to do, then maybe I will watch something I have watched maybe again. Watching something for the first time at the same time painting, it's a little bit, I might not be effective. I know my own weaknesses. So it's not my personal choice, but then, yeah, it's about you starting to think, or now we are in the 9th hour of the class. So if you have been successfully sitting through, I am thinking of you as someone who can sit through for many hours. There is a possibility, there is a potential in you that you should try to understand what is more physically comfortable and also what is psychologically comfortable for you. Physically comfortable, we have talked about it in previous classes, how to place things very close by that you are not running around and searching for it, and having something basic to clean also with you. So all these basic things we have discussed about in previous classes. Now we need to also think about psychological comfort, because now we are getting on to some more sitting in of time. I did mention this also in one of our classes, that the number of layers that we are going to do here it's going to be possibly 5 to 6 maximum. We have already covered third layer. We are now working on fourth layer. So that's the maximum that I'm going to show you. But it doesn't mean that this is the end of it. There are people that work on many layers. So it's your choice. Again, working on these layers, meaning deepening or giving more depth. You can already see, you have by now guessed that by layer, what we are doing is that trying to give a little more depth to what we have drawn or painted. So the more and more layers you do, more natural it's going to be. There is something called hyperrealism. There is photorealism. So there are so many areas to achieve in this. So where do you want to go? It's up to you psychologically to prepare your mind to sit with yourself and with the painting for some more hours. Okay. From my experience, when I did one of the paintings that took more than 100 hours, there were a lot of down times also. I felt maybe I'm not going there, maybe I am not going to achieve the kind of quality that I will want to, or so. So there were low periods also. So it's not that easy, but at the same time, you have to tell yourself that it's possible that you might feel a little down with it, but it's okay. So do not overthink on that and let it flow through. If there are down moments, I do take that's what I do. I have 4 or 5 paintings going at the same time maximum. There are pencil sketches that are going through. So pencil sketches, if I don't feel like doing a pencil sketch, then I come to this. Then if I feel a little more up to doing a larger canvas, maybe I want to sit for 5 hours through and I can see that I will do it, then I will go to my large canvas and start working on that instead. So I mentally tune myself to the flexibility. How am I feeling today? Can I put in 1 hour? Then good. Can I put in 2-3 hours? Then fantastic. Let's find something bigger to work on. So you will have to do a little more talking with yourself to find out what is it that you would love to do. The whole essence of it is that you take it. It has to come from a place of passion and not a pressurizing situation or stressful situation that you will have to do it. Yeah, unless and until you have made a commitment, let's say that you have made a private art commission agreement and then you have a deadline coming up, you need to deliver to someone. Unless and until you get into that level, there is no need for you to stress out while doing a painting. So this is what I want to address today in our class, the psychological aspect of painting for long hours. Okay, so that's enough of Gyan. I think we are now ready to get on with our painting. Let's see how we are doing. We did the hair, so today we are going to do something very different. So we are not going to work on the skin yet. We will do the shirt. We'll work on the shirt and see how we are doing with that. And if we have some more time, we'll work on the toy as well. Let's see how we are doing with that. Okay, to start with, so this particular area, we have painted the white, and I remember telling you to choose between a brown color or a black or a blue that I have done to show the folds. Okay, so I chose blue, and whatever you chose, that is fine. Now what we are going to do is to paint over this, because it is still looking artificial, isn't it? So let's try to make it a little natural. So for this, I'm going to take white. I will take brush number 2, and I will take a bit more of the white. Usually, I tell you not to take too much of oil, the linseed oil. But this time, what I'm going to do is to do the opposite of what I've been telling you. So I take a dip more than I need. It looks like it's going to fall off my brush. So I'm taking a little more in my brush, and I'm blending it in the white here. Yeah. See, it's more oily now. So I'm thinning the layer out using more of the oil. The reason why I'm doing that, I'm taking one more drop like this. So I took 2 drops, I think. The reason why I'm doing it is that now I want this layer to be transparent. I think most of the people that do layers do know this, that you want some layers to shine out through the other layers. So I want the 3rd layer also to show a little bit on the 4th layer, over the 4th layer. So I'm doing this, and you can see if I slightly use my finger to smoothen it out, you can still see the blue tonality where I'm doing it. So I'm doing this. So I will keep, either if you do not like to use the finger like what I'm doing, it's good to have a earbud or a tissue paper, clean one around to do it. So I'm painting and I'm moving the oil around in the places. So the lines that I drew, remember I told you I'm drawing lines. Eventually I don't want the lines to show in the shirt. So I'm doing that. So this is my 4th layer. It's already coming in close on the 3rd layer. So I've been doing only the left side of her blouse or shirt, the left hand. Okay, I'm doing this, letting the blue shine through. I'm leaving this spot, the darker blue that I made, because I can see that that's a spot where it is prominent. It is prominent. So I want it to show. I'll leave it as such. The others I want to hide a little bit. So not too much. It is hiding, but the tonality is shifting. Now you might ask, why do it as another layer? You could have done it even in the previous layer. Oh yes, of course, that's just not wrong. That is also one way of approaching it, doing thinking in multiple angles. It is good to do, but I think it's in the beginning stages when we are little confused about where things are. It's good to do it in layers. And another thing is that when you do layers, it starts one on top of the other. It starts piling up, isn't it? So, and that gives another beauty to the whole painterly aspect that we are trying to build. That's also another benefit. So many benefits to it in doing it in layers. So have patience and try to do this. So now I'm coming close to her neck. I'm going to do that part underneath her neck. And I'm ready to move things around with my own finger as well. So it is still transparent, and I'm still relying on my third layer to shine through. Okay. So I did this, and I'm coming around her neck area, the blouse, the shirt around her neck area. And if you see, I'm taking much less of this. It's already oily. So I'm taking much less of this, going over and making sure that I'm also using my fingers to blend it through. So where I really want the blue to show, I'm letting it show. The other areas that I want to maybe have a lighter aspect about, so I'm trying to hide or not hide. It is visible, but lightly visible. I'm doing this. Okay, let's do the same for the blue here. Let's do this for this edge. Again, I want the cloth to show naturally. Done. Be done with this. The last part is this right hand's, the shirt around her right hand. Again, very slightly, I'm building this. Yeah. Okay. Done so far. And I have seen a small anchor symbol on her shirt, and I like that, but maybe I will not do the same anchor symbol. Again, it's a thought that I am contemplating. Do I want her to have the same symbol or in her shirt or something? I'm thinking I could have maybe another symbol. Let's see. You choose what you like for her shirt. I'm thinking maybe maybe an arrow symbol. Could be like that. It could be an arrow. See, let's figure out. I'm taking brush number 1. I keep the white with me. If I need it, I will take it again. So I need the same kind of blue that I used before for her. For the third layer of her shirt, I used. I think I used this blue. You could use ultramarine blue. I have an indigo blue. That's what I used, I think, the last time. So I'll take that. Yeah, it looks like the same. So a little bit of that. And I'm going to take a bit of that and start doing the symbol. See, if you are continuing to do the same anchor symbol, remember the folds, so the symbol will not be the same in all places. If I have to really show you how it is done, let me do, so I'm going to do a very similar one just for your benefit. So I'm doing a very similar one. So it has got a curve, a line, and then a dot. So it starts looking like what you have here, okay? But is this the same symbol you're going to put along? No. With the folds, the shape changes. Though it is the same design, the pattern will appear differently from our eye point of view. So be careful. So this, what we have put on her left hand, somewhere upwards, close to where the horizon of her hand is, cannot see much of it, isn't it? So you can see half of it maybe, and then the line maybe, and then this, you don't see full. Yeah? Be aware of that. So the same shape isn't, and then we have another example right here. Because of the fold, it looks even shorter. It's even shorter. You cannot see much of it. Okay, there's one. And now I notice another mistake that I can fix. See, it's always good to use this thought process. So I am looking at this. There is the space of white coming all over that I had missed on doing that. Okay. Okay, let's do one more here. Again, the folds. What's happening to the folds? You cannot see much of it. Cannot see much of this design also. Looks like a dot, possibly. Yeah. So again, in the folds, very close to her cheek, you can hardly see anything. It's looking like an ant, possibly. So just look at the same shape, same pattern. It doesn't go in the same way in all the places. Because of the fold, it looks different. It tends to look different. Going to do one more here. Yes. Let's do one more underneath her collar. So this is again partly visible. Okay, we've got this. We've got one looking better. So I'm not doing almost all of them, but I'm just trying to see. Yeah. So likewise, if you have chosen any other pattern to work on, look at the pattern. Even if it's a dot, the dot will be in different shapes based on where you are placing the dot. So be aware of that. Did we have this? And then underneath her, just close to her right arm, you can see practically nothing, but there is something like this. Yeah. So I've got it. One more here. Pretty. Do we do I get the feeling that I changed the blue. You know better, you've been watching closely. But still, like I said, as long as you are doing the justice between showing light and dark and between showing the far away and near to and the patterns, or as long as you're trying to do justice, it's fine. But if it's so important to you that you want to follow the color lines, do follow that. It's a good habit. Good habit. It's a good habit. So you see, I'm also using the help of a earbud to show the lines or adjust the lines, whatever. Yeah. Okay, are we done here? We have, I'm now towards her left shoulder, and I'm looking at some spaces where I will put that through. There are so many folds here, so just be careful how you want to place them. Near her ear, almost like a dot. You cannot see much of it. Huh? I'm just trying to use that. Do we have most of it? I want one more here, maybe. Yes. Looks like we have most of it. Looks good. So we have managed to do her shirt a little more justice. Good. Do we need some more shading or not? Think of it. Otherwise, we are fine. Now let's move on to the toy. One part of the toy. Let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to use, because I did the blue, I'm going to use the blue here to do the same blue here to do the underlayer, to give it a darker impact. I will take it off and blend it along with the sky blue when I come to that. I'll do that. Then I see that there is another ring that will come up. There are now color rings coming up. So we'll do many colors now. Oh. This is going to be super fun. Let's do that. Okay. So I am now moving on to taking more colors. So I will take the same sky blue that I need, because I will need the sky blue for this texture. I'll need white. I'll also need the sky blue again for another ring that I will build on top of this red ring. So remember, we thought of having this toy because there's so many elements that we will learn how to work with this toy. So that's the reason why we are continuing to do this toy and not removing it off from this base. It's a good learning, and that's why I wanted to keep it along. So I'm going to just, I'm still continuing with the first brush number 1, but I will wipe off. I'll wipe off and take the lighter blue again. And now I'll start blending this alongside, because I've done the other indigo blue, there will be a darker shade coming up that will show like there's the inner circle, a little darker that one cannot see much of. That gives me this nice darker feeling. And I will take the brush that I had white on, because I will need it to again show the white in some places, isn't it? Shadow. And remember, the shape that I did was not so correct. I did say that, at one point we will do the adjustments on that. We will work on that today. So this shape needs another outer layer of white as well. It will go like this. So I'm going to do that. Just building on this white layer, and I will wipe off if I have another color coming in. So I just don't want that. I'm going back to the white, and I will wipe it off. Try to hide it as much as possible here, and I want to build on this structure here, a little more oval shape. Okay. Let that be. There is a glass top on the toy, top portion. There is something called, there's something like a glass, maybe that's a plastic, transparent one. So that's also an interesting feature. We will work on that, but not now. But we will start doing something inside that. There are some things inside that. Let's do that. And some of it is blue. I don't know what that is. Okay, it's interesting. So I'm going to do that. It looks like what it looks like. A rabbit, chicken, what exactly that is. I don't know. So I'm going to do that shape inside. There is one, and there are something in green as well. So let's do that when it comes to green. So the way I work is that when I take one color, I look at the things that are needed with the same color to be done. So I'll work on that, and then I move on to another color. That's the way I do it. Some people like to have all the colors ready in the palette and work on the areas with different brushes. That's also fine. Yeah. This is just my approach. So I'm making this circle come through. And it's not a circle, it's got another layer to it. There are layers to it like this. I want to build that also. It looks like wheels, at least to me. I'm building that. And when you build that, you will also need white. Good that we had this white brush with white ready, isn't it? So I'm going to use that again and make the slight lining to show that there is this white. You'll be amazed the level of details that we can go to. I mean, there's no end to it. We have just begun. In a way, there's no end to this. And if you feel it's a little too much, I don't want to work on the toy to this level, that's also fine. It's up to you to say, okay, let's leave this part. Maybe I will not do the detailing to this level. That's also good. And in here, again, there are also some blue spots that I see on this ring, the orange ring. I'm just doing them without going into the details. I'm just doing the spots that are blue. Okay. Now, can we try to do the purple? Because we picked up the blue, it's easier to go over the purple. So I'm going to take a little bit of the crimson, a tiny bit of it, tiny bit meaning this. Okay, let's go over that. Are we ready to mix that with the blue? Looks like, yeah. Okay, I'm getting this darker purple color. If you like this darker purple, it's okay. If you do not, if you want it to be a little lighter, brighter, do try using white to lighten it up. Maybe I will take a bit of the white to lighten it up, not too much. Let me see. I am always lazy. I'm trying to see if there is some more white left in other places that I would like to take and lighten it up. Okay, slightly lightening it up. Anyways, when I do the shading, I will lighten it up, so I'm not too much worried about it, as I am going to make the same kind of a ring here. Okay, so I'm doing that. And there's one more, whatever shape that is. It's hard to see. I'm just making. Can you see that? It's an illustration that we are trying to make. And when we are making portraiture, we are looking at reality. But in this portraiture itself, we are trying to do something that we cannot see, maybe not into the detail level. So I don't know the shape of it. So I'm just trying to do something up here, and seeing any other place where this color might be needed. I don't think so. It looks fine for now. We need to lighten it up a bit, which I will do with the help of white. When I take the white and I do the same kind of wheelie thing around. Gets lightened up and get the shape. And maybe I'll take a little bit more of the white to lighten up this shade also a little bit. That's it. So if you see, I have done the changes directly on my canvas rather than mixing colors. That's one thing I did. And now I want to go into the area where it looks blacky. Maybe I can use the same purple frame here in these sections also. For your benefit, I think I will move this around like this. So you can see more of what I'm doing here. Okay, I can hold it by the side, so I'm doing it like this. I see these dots. It looks purpley or black to me. I'm not very sure what they are, but that is fine. So I'm just using the purple. Okay. Those are the characters that I had to do. I did it. Now for some, we should go for the orange. Oh, wow. Okay, which means I will have to either wash the brush or wipe it off. Let me see. Wiping off. I can use another brush as well. That's another idea. Okay, and I have vermilion that I want to take. To this, I will add a bit of yellow. But before adding the yellow, I can see that this color itself can be used in some sections, isn't it? So I'm going to use that. I took the vermilion and I'm using it on, in these sections. One more round, making it slightly thicker. Maybe I will not do it here because I want another ring to come up. Oh, that's a green ring. What do we do? Do we do an orange ring instead? Let's do that. Yeah. So I'm doing this red ring a little more strongly. And I want to use the white. Thankfully, I have the white still to give the shade slightly in some places where it's catching the light. Where is it catching the light from? The logic. Be aware of that. It's catching light from the left side of us, meaning the right side of the painting. Okay. We worked on that. Good. And now let's mix a little bit of yellow to make the orange. And we decided we will change this to orange also. We've got a lot of orange to work on. Let's do that. I have something called cadmium orange also with me. But this will directly take me to what I want, I think. But I'm not going to do that. Just for your benefit, I'm going to do the same vermilion, because most of you, I'm sure, will have a vermilion in your set of oil colors, and you might have a lemon yellow or permanent yellow. So if you have a lemon yellow, that's also fine. So take that. And there is an usual mistake but that most of my students do. They start mixing immediately. Vermilion is a very strong color. Okay. So just I'm showing it to you now. And look at this part that I have of orange, vermilion, and the yellow. If you blend it together right now, it could be heavily darker, very close to the vermilion. So take one part of the vermilion and mix it with this yellow and see where you go. If you like this color, it's fine. If you want it even darker, then you can add a little more. But I think for me, that one part itself was good enough to reach where I wanted to go with the orange. You see that? So I'm going to take this and let me fill this space fully with orange. Looks like blocking, isn't it? Not really. Let's do the blocking or shading as well. Blocking comes shading as well. So I'm going to do that. So we had a green circle here, which I said I'll not take it as green. The reason is I'm having too much green on the grass side. And that's why I am converting this to a orange circle in this toy. So when I do this, I did fill it properly. But now there are some shades and shapes coming up, and that we can do actually now itself. Can we do that? Who would have imagined the toy will be so difficult? Expect the unexpected. So I see the lighter shadows. You guessed it right, I'm taking white. So I am making the lighter shadows with white. I'm making that circle off. Okay, that comes out. Then leaving it to come to this darker area. So that's where I'm not doing the white. Just seeing if you are able to see it perfectly. Okay, did that. And then the shades of, it looks like, maybe a small tree with 4 or 5 branches. So I'm doing that. So wherever I'm doing the lighter shade, what is left over is dark, isn't it? So okay. So can you see, I have filled in the lighter area to show what is dark. And if you want to show a little more of the dark, you did have the vermilion. Nice. To take out and try doing it over to give that shape of the tree or whatever. And remember, this section isn't visible. It should be even more darker. The light shadow is not reaching here. Try to make it darker underneath. Did we get it right for this one? Did we survive through? It's good. And at this stage, before I get to the other circle, you see that in this white, there is this plastic kind of cover, and that has an orangey shine to it. So I'm using the vermilion that I have to make this slight circle, because we need to create an illusion that there is a kind of plastic on top. To create the illusion, we already are starting to build the storyline here. So I'm doing that. And then in between also there's another circle or something like that. It goes circular like this, So I've already built this, and you will see that this section can also be built a little easily around like that. So I'll do that. I'm not doing too much into that, just slightly of this vermilion here. Done. Now I go back, I leave this out. Oh, I should make it a little bigger here. Did it? Fine, good. So now I move on to the circle that is really having the orangey thing. Yeah. So let's do that. And I'm going to take it out. Place it like this for you so that you can see what I'm doing beneath as well. Yes, yes, yes. We did agree that we will do the sides. How interesting. Okay, so I'm doing the orange. Here. I'm going to fill the same orange on the bottom. Okay. I hope you can see that clearly here. Yes. Remember the angles. It gets a little broader because of the way the canvas is stretched. You just imagine the sides to be like this. I did that. And now for the lighter and darker area, fun part. Yes, now you guys are experts. Huh? You know where I'm going to go. Okay, the white obvious one will be where the sunlight is falling through. Yes, and I will let it go also in the bottom. Okay, and you can see sunlight through here. Again, I will let it go in the bottom. Okay. What is more darker? Let's take the other brush to do the vermilion. Is it brighter? I think I made it brighter, isn't it? So how do I correct it? Can I make it dull? Yes, of course I can. Huh? I would take, I can take the black, I can take the brown, whatever I feel like, a slight bit of it to paint over. Yeah, so it gets a little darker here. So I continue the dark portion here. The same way, there are darker portions here as well. I'll take slightly, very, very small little black to the orange that I have been having, and I'm doing this edge only with that. Okay, I have it done. Okay, so that's about these layers. We still have some more portions of the toy to be worked on. Is it a little too much? But I think we are coming to a close of this class. Let's stop here. Let's take a look at what we have done so far. So we have essentially done the shirt portion of the baby girl today. I wouldn't say complete, but it is near to completion as far as the shirt is considered. I can see that most of the aspects are there, so we have been working on that. And then we started with the toy. The toy had a lot of elements that we've been working on. We still need to complete the yellow sections and also the transparent plastic on top, and this pink section, and one more to draw. So we will do that in the next class, maybe. I'm not able to stop. So I'm just thinking of putting up one more orangey circle here to finish. So I'm taking this same orange that we did, making another circle. But remember, this is really more towards the sun. So it's going to be more of white here. Yeah, done. So yeah, we still have some more sections of the toy to finish. So next class, let's focus on completing the toy and also working a little bit on the green area, and let's see where we are getting to. Yes, thank you very much for watching, and if you have been reaching this far, doing very well, great, congratulations. Do share in the comment section what you've been doing, how you've been feeling so far. And also, we talked about our emotions today, isn't it? How do you feel psychologically doing so many hours of work on a single painting? Is it something that you are liking it or not, or is it something that you are already used to? So let's listen more to what you are thinking on this side as well. So do share also the pictures of what you've been doing, and I look forward to having you in the next class. Let's continue doing more of this painting and enjoy together, learn together. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.